Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show. In case you didn't get that, Dan here.
Mick here, hello.
So today, we're talking about voice boxes. Voice boxes. So, this is something I've been interested into for a long time. It's such an old technology, but we still hear it used quite a lot. Yeah. I've got a few examples of different things here. I've got this wonderful old Golden Throat mouth tube by Electro-Harmonix. It's very similar to the original Hail. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce those ones, but so the technology works like this. Normally, with a standard effects pedal, your guitar signal goes in, it does its business, and then that goes out into the front of the amplifier. What a talk box does is, instead of using the signal from the guitar into the amplifier, it actually uses the signal from the amplifier. So that signal that normally plugs directly into the speaker, that signal plugs into here, goes into the input, then out of that, back to the speaker cabinet, right?
So we'll just go over that. Out of the guitar, into the input of the amp.
Exactly.
Speaker output of the amp.
Yep.
Into the talk box.
Exactly.
Output of the talk box. Into the cabinet.
Into the cabinet.
So effectively it sits between the amp and the cabinet.
Exactly. Now, what happens when I just play normally, if you just turn the guitar on? Okay. So the amplifier by itself.
Sounds nice.
Oh, dude.
Victory Sheriff 44.
The new Victory Sheriff 44. My fingers fell off then.
Very nice.
Now, when I turn this on, it disconnects the speaker from the amplifier.
But still gives it a load so the amp won't blow up.
Well, the load is connected. There's a speaker in here.
Right.
There's an actual driver. And that speaker sends the signal up this tube.
The black tube in
this case. The black tube in this case. So you can still hear it coming through there.
Just to explain that, so in the room we've got a PA cabinet set up to monitor it because nothing comes out of the amp itself. It only comes out of the end of that tube.
Now, the tube goes into my mouth and I use my mouth to make sound. Wow. You love this, don't you?
I love it. So you can either just move your mouth to create vowel sounds, or you can actually say words.
You can say words. So if I speak normally, obviously my normal voice comes out as well. If I just go, Michael, Michael. But if I sing along with it, but then you can do things like harmonize it. So, which is a bit mad.
Where is this going?
So you can actually get two lines going at once.
Yeah.
But it's the shape when this noise comes up through here and the inside of your mouth. You use the shape of your mouth, and then that's picked up by the mic.
Yes, to state the bleeding obvious, the sound is coming up the tube, into his gob, and then back down the mic.
That's it.
And there we go. And you could build a career on that.
You can indeed. You can indeed. So and it's one of the oldest effect technologies. They've used it for, they had a thing called Sonavox, which is where they would amplify, get a sound source and actually put speakers on your throat.
Really?
Yep, and then they'd mic the throat. There's they've done it a bunch. It's the same sort of technology they use. Have you ever seen the guys walking around with with those little things they press on the side of their larynx.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Same.
So if they've got a voice problem.
Voice, exactly. Same technology. There was, now let me get the Sparky's Magic Piano. It's back in the 50s. And if you listen to that, you actually hear they mic this piano up, and then they played that through speakers attached to this guy's throat. And then suddenly the piano could talk. You know, so it's amazing. And then they did it around the other way using the amplified speaker into the tube, into that. So and then you have guys like Jeff Beck with the bag, exactly the same technology. But the reason I wanted to have a look at this is that MXR brought this out. This is the new Talk Box by MXR. What I really like about this one is that instead of being powered by the head, because you'll see there's no power supply on this.
Yeah.
Right? It's so cool.
Completely passive.
Completely passive, but there's a little protection circuit on here that if it gets too hot, that starts to glow.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, because you can get the amp really pumping through it, can't you?
Oh, man.
Which is what creates that sound.
Absolutely. And just after spending 10 minutes and having the amp turned up a little bit, I can feel the vibration in my teeth. It's full on.
Really?
It's full on. There are stories of guys who are... So when everyone's using cranked 100-watt Marshalls, there are stories of guys' teeth falling out.
Peter Frampton, if you're watching this, could you give us a teeth report, please?
Yes.
How are your teeth these days?
Yes, that's the myth. But they did, after a while, they did put a warning to not use it with anything over 50 watts.
Right.
So that's the Golden Throat, which just sounds epic, right? Now, if I turn the Golden Throat off...
Dan and I were having a conversation about what you actually hear, because it was my... I assumed that it would then be mixed with a proper guitar sound, but no, apparently not. You know, you just hear the talk box itself coming out over the PA with no guitar amp.
Yeah, it's not to say that you can't mix it in with a guitar amp.
Yeah.
But the classic way of doing it is just when you turn that on, it disconnects that completely.
Yeah.
And it's just that. And if you listen to the old Bon Jovi live recordings, and you'll see it's just the talk box he's using, because suddenly the guitar goes really thin. You know, it's the same effect on the That's how he does it.
So I played in a function band with our mate Tim Slater for a while. Tim and I worked on Guitar Bar
How you
years
doing,
ago,
Tim?
And guitarist, in fact. And
great guitar player.
Tim, really
great guitar
and
player.
Tim and I had a function band together called Joyrider, and one of the songs we did in Joyrider was "Livin On A Prayer," and he was carting around his voice box. It was actually the Dan Electro did a reissue one which had a smaller tube, and it was much easier to carry around. And it remembering back, I don't think it sounded as good as these, and he just got so fed up with it. Just because, every gig it was like talk box, thing up the stand, it was always feeding back. But when it worked, it worked.
Yeah. Because it's such a difficult thing to replicate any other way.
Yeah,
we'll see a really good example of how difficult that is in just a second.
Oh, goody. Why do I feel like I'm the mule for this?
So
you can get part of the way there with a wah-wah and a filter, presumably, could you? Or
yeah,
it's kind of a similar thing, but
it can sort of. So the MXR, as opposed to being connected to your amp's actual output, like speaker output, it just uses the guitar signal. It has a built-in amplifier in here.
Right.
Okay. So if I go to this one. If I turn the talk box off, this is going straight into the front of the amp. This is the Harlot.
Yeah.
Right. But then if I turn the talk box on, so instead of having the talk box between the head and the speaker, this just goes straight into the front. Okay.
Much easier to deal with.
Much easier to deal with, but it still disconnects the signal to the amplifier. Now the signal is simply coming out the tube. If that makes sense.
And that's so much better.
What's cool about this though, if I turn off, so I've got the harlot going there.
Yeah.
So at the moment, if I just get a clean sound going, it's not clean. When I turn this on, I can actually get a level of gain.
Yeah.
Sort of. I look really weird doing that, don't I?
You do. But probably not as weird as me because I can't stop going with you. So there's no option to leave the amp on as well?
No.
No, so you couldn't mix. If you wanted to do that, you'd have to have two separate thingies.
Well, there's nothing to say that they couldn't put a mixer in with that because it's a signal that goes into your amplifier.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you put that within a little mixer circuit, I guess that you could, but no, what this does is it disconnects it, connects it to a separate little amplifier in here.
Yeah. With the massive advantage that you don't have to run it between head and cab.
Exactly.
Or between amp and speaker.
Yeah, exactly. But it sounds great. It has, because it uses the same physical principle.
Yeah.
It has those same properties. It's such a, you have a tube in your mouth while you're trying to play, you know, and then those sounds are coming up in your mouth. It's exactly the same principle, as opposed to the talk box setting on the vocoder. Now, I was really excited to hear this, okay, because I thought, frankly, this is hard to deal with.
This doesn't work for me.
No, it doesn't work for me. It obstructs my view. You know, it's what you're relying on. I know it's ridiculous. What you're relying on for this to work is the sound guy.
Yes.
Because it's all about the sound that gets picked up by the microphone. Okay, like even we just having the little PA set up here, that was a bit of a faff.
Yes.
You know. So
yeah, we started on Monday. It's now Friday,
exactly. Yeah.
Friday
So
morning.
there's all this stuff. So I thought, okay, so Boss has brought out the vocoder, the VO-1, and it had a talk box setting on it, and I thought, if this works, this is going to be epic. You know. So let's see if it works, Michael. If you'd be so kind.
Okay. So shall we start? Let's start where you were.
Okay.
Right. So. Okay, so I'm plugged straight into the Victory,
Yes.
right, which sounds thusly. Nice.
So good. Okay, so
you give me a lesson then. Tell me what to do.
okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn on the little. Sorry, I'm going to turn on the vocoder. Now at the moment, I've got the dry signal mixed all the way off.
Yeah.
So we're just going to hear the vocoder signal. Let me just turn this off now.
So and is this set as a talk box or is
This is set as a talk box. Right?
So what you might notice at this point is there's no sound going into my mouth.
That's right.
So I actually have to make noise to make it work.
Exactly. So, your voice into that microphone triggers the gate and the filters and things inside there.
Okay, so I'm just going to play the A string, and as you can hear, nothing happens until I go. Okay, so there's obviously a big job to be done there in terms of getting the sensitivity and the right input from the guitar and everything.
Yep. But now if you play chords and talk into the microphone, check out what happens.
And we're still on the talk box setting.
Still on the talk box setting.
Okay.
So I'm going to play a chord, it's a talk box, and then if you play a minor chord, you might hear it go a bit minor. Another major chord.
So I could be feeling. Oh, here we go.
Hey, see?
There you go. It stopped because
Yep.
I'm not playing. I have to be playing. So. Somewhere there's a use for this. We should have got somebody more artistic in.
That's beautiful. Okay,
Okay.
so that's the talk box setting. Let's try the right. So we've got the vintage setting. Try that one.
This is the vintage setting. 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 This is the vintage setting.
Sorry. So
I should make up a song about how I've got absolutely no idea how to do this, and then we'll go to the four chord, and it harmonizes it quite nicely, even though I'm only just talking.
so there you go.
Well, that's
So-
great.
Right. But this is okay. If you I'm gonna play, but I just play something semi-funky, and then you just create some mouth sounds around it.
Okay,
Alright?
but we're still
We're still on the vocoder, on the vintage setting.
yeah, okay.
Right? So sorry. That's it.
What I can't get my head around, is that it's very sensitive to the notes that Dan is playing, and when he plays them, you know how it goes. So that's not like a talk box at all.
So that's a vocoder.
Yeah.
That is a vocoder.
Sorry, I thought we were on the talk box.
No,
setting.
this is the so this is a vintage vocoder setting.
Oh.
Right? So really popular with keyboard players.
Ah, that's why I've got no idea
Right?
what's going on.
The vocoder thing. So lots of keyboard players use it.
Yeah.
But the talk box setting is supposed to be. Try again.
So obviously, if I make no noise, if no noise comes out of my mouth, and then some noise came out, and then some noise came out. If you go, if we sing a major scale, which I'll never be able to do, because
It doesn't matter.
so no matter what I sing, it makes no difference.
It's just the shape.
How can it be the shape though?
Because it's so.
So it's a vowel.
It takes the vowel sound. Right,
Okay.
and the shape of, and then it opens the gates.
Let's do that,
around
and I'll
it.
go through the vowel sounds.
Okay.
Just do one note.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Anyway.
So the challenge for the rest of this video is we have to come up with a creative use for this
Okay.
before the end of the video.
Okay. For the vocoder, specifically the vocoder.
Well, we know. Okay, so we know that the vocoder has been used on that Cher song, and about 58 million other songs.
That's auto tune.
That's a vocoder, isn't it?
It's auto tune.
No matter how hard I try.
Oh, that one. Sorry,
Yeah,
I thought you
yeah,
were talking about the. Yeah, right. Okay.
That's got to be a vocoder, surely.
Yes.
And we know that the talk boxes have been used on
Oh my goodness.
Livin On A Prayer, Frampton Comes Alive,
Rocky Mountain Way.
Way. Yeah, John Denver's nighttime party years.
There was a Aerosmith was one of the really early ones.
How was it?
It was an Aerosmith song called Sweet Emotion. It was one of the very early recorded versions of the Talk Box.
Okay, so Dan and I promised that we would try and do something creative before the end of the show. So now we're going to run through a series of classic songs on using the vocoder in a Talk Box. You'll know what this is. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3.
I was waiting for you.
It's the intro.
Okay,
You've
sorry.
got to do the intro.
Okay.
1,
intro.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
I once had a girl, or should I say, she once had me. She showed me your room, isn't it good? No angel would.
That was awesome! That was absolutely brilliant.
It was incredible.
Yeah,
It was incredible.
yeah.
More?
What we should do now is like a real feeling song, like one with real feeling. Sort of like a kind of...
La 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 la, you do something to me. Something deep inside. I have to keep singing, otherwise this simple stop get close to. Does it change if I do an octave? Doesn't seem to, or maybe actually there's a bloke in the car park. You got any Reg Ford Sierra? There's a block in the fire exit, can you come in? Or if I was a bit happier about it, I could sing in a major key and then it will be okay. Sometimes I feel that I don't have a partner. Sometimes I feel that my only friend is the city of living, the city of angels. Lonely as I am, together we cry.
You gotta sing it.
Well, she's walking through the clouds with a silky smile that's running around. Butterflies and seabirds and birds and the fairies riding with the wind.
Oh, okay.
That was awesome.
Well, I think as we proved, your vocoder and your talk box there can be very valid at musical. I'd like to see a whole set of that.
Definitely. Come to the next That Pedal Show live,
Yeah.
where we do an hour and a half of just vocoder and talk box
Vocoder
harmonies.
tunes. Actually, to be honest, if you were cleverer, if you were Jack Duxbury, hello Jack, and you were really brilliant at this kind of thing.
Horn.
Oh yeah, sorry, Jack Duxbury. Jack's a very good friend of ours, keyboard player in James Bay's band, also awesome guitarist. Oh, for goodness sake.
Come on, sunshine.
James Bay. And Jack's a master at stuff like that.
He is
knows
incredible.
harmony and melody really brilliantly, and I'm sure he would make a much better job of that. So,
But in all, I think a fantastic demonstration of what it's capable of.
well, the best out there, Dan, I reckon. You're buying one next week, are you?
I bought these. There you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next week. Bye.